Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live show. How are you
Hey,
feeling, Rach?
I'm good. Welcome to this week's podcast, everyone. I was ill last week, so unfortunately, that's why we didn't have a live episode. So apologies if you were waiting for that, but illnesses can't be helped, can they, Shell?
I know, right? I mean, we've done so many kind of ill or whatever, but when it's live, like when your face is on camera, you can't show up ill, can you?
Your royal community, you wouldn't have wanted to see me last week.
Are you feeling better though?
Yeah, much better. Thank you. Much better.
Amazing stuff. So let's talk about what we're going to be talking about in today's YouTube live, podcast live is everything we planned for last week plus extras, right, Rach? So we're going to be chatting about Catherine at Wimbledon, the hobnob, that's the Princess Royal for everyone who doesn't know us from the podcast. She's back to engagements. We had the Queen's birthday, and also Prince George's birthday this week. We've got so much to talk about.
So much, and it's nice because as the summers started and the kids were on their school holidays, that means that the royal news is going to slow right down. So hold on to your hats, grab yourself a cup of tea, royal community, if you're watching this on the replay or if you're joining us live, because we've got lots to chat to you about today.
Absolutely. So yeah, exactly like Rachel said, if you are joining us live or if you are a replay crew, stick your comments in. Let's get chatting about the royal family. So Rach, do you want to start us off? We saw Catherine at Wimbledon. Let's get in with the good stuff.
Yeah, so Catherine at Wimbledon, that was lovely to see her, and looking so well as well. I just love the fact that she just looked healthy, and hopefully this is a sign of once the summer is over and they are back to royal engagements that she may possibly start attending some royal engagements again. But I just loved the warm welcome that she got from everyone, a standing ovation, and you could really tell that she was touched by that. And normally, when we see her at Wimbledon, she won't greet the crowds for that long, because Wimbledon is not about her. But it was just such a lovely moment that everybody came together and shared in that moment. And even Charlotte, like the look of love and admiration that she has on her face, and Catherine's sister Pippa as well. It was just a joy to see her. And I think that was the word that I would say. As a royal fan, I just felt joy because Catherine is such a big part of our royal watching world. So it's great to see her looking out and about and so healthy.
Rachel, I could not agree with you more. We have a VIP Raw community, so if you want to join that, you can head on over to Ko-fi, Kofi. Also, pop the link in the description for you. We were chatting with our VIP Raw community yesterday via Zoom during our monthly chats, and we chatted about Catherine, didn't we, Rach? And I was we had so many conversations with them all about just this euphoria you feel as a royal watcher because we've really missed Catherine, and there was just all is right in the world. She looks so good for having her cancer journey. We don't know where she is on that. We don't know how far she is with her treatment, but I was just so elated, and I did have a little cry when I saw it. I think it was just the overwhelming emotion through the crowd. Everyone giving her standing ovation, like you said, Rach. Charlotte and Pippa's face. Oh, it says it all. There was such pride, admiration for her, and it was just so lovely to see her out and about. Now, we did have some notes prepared from last week, so I'll read those out for you now. It says Catherine made a triumphant return to Wimbledon, accompanied by Charlotte and her sister Pippa, obviously with a standing ovation. And also, Charlotte was given the lady singles winner, Barbara Ketchikova. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She was given a racket, and she was kind of like admiring this racket, which was really fun. You could tell Charlotte is a massive tennis fan, and also Catherine asked the men's singles winner Carlos Alcaraz who his favorite Spanish football player was, because the boys wanted me to ask. I mean, I wonder which boys she's talking about. I just everything, we know that tennis is such a big love for her. And, as we can see from Catherine as well, sorry, Charlotte as well. So yeah, it was a joy to see her. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments.
And also, quick note, I loved the fact that the purple she was wearing tied in with the colours of Wimbledon, because she wears a little a pin which is green and purple, which is the Wimbledon official colours. So I think that was also a nice nod. As we always say, Royal Community, the clothing always has some sort of significance of why they're wearing certain colours, certain pieces of jewellery. So I thought that was a really nice tie-in as well.
Yeah. So we had Catherine and Charlotte at Wimbledon. Where were the boys, right?
So they was at the Euros finals in Germany. So Cheryl and I aren't massive football fans, but you couldn't get away from it living here in England. It was everywhere on the news. And I did think when we saw Charlotte at Wimbledon without George, I thought, I think George will go to the Euros finals with William, because William is the president of the FA. So yeah, he was there to watch England play Spain in the men's European Championship finals. Shell, George is looking so much like a little mini William the older that he gets. That blonde swept hair, I mean, come on, like you just can't deny it.
I completely agree. I think there was moments where he had the Middleton gene, but now it's all William. You can tell the Spencer family gene is there. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with you, Rach.
And I thought it was really interesting to see George, who's just turned 11, interacting with all these dignitaries. Like that week, we had a new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. George was greeting him. He was sat next to the King of Spain and the Princess of Spain, who will one day be the Queen of Spain. At such a young age, he's just mixing with so many different people, and obviously preparing him for his statesmanship of what he will one day become a head of state. And I just thought, wow, what must that world be like? Like, I would just love to step into their world for even just a day, especially at events like this, just to know like what it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we'll never know. You kind of put yourself into that I wonder what that would feel like. And I think The Crown is really good at this from Netflix because again, you feel transported into the royal world. But actually we'll never know. We will never know. We don't know what that feels like to I think I might have said this before, but with being royal, you have a purpose already. As soon as you're born, the purpose has been created for you. There's this lineage that's there. And I would say 99% of the population don't have that purpose. You have to find that purpose in your life. So they never really have that unless they obviously want to abdicate or go somewhere and do something else. So yeah, and it was great that all of these engagements that we see, especially with the children, they're always to do with a passion of theirs. So we've got Charlotte at the Wimbledon, we've got Prince George at the football. I mean, we saw them off I want to say it like what's the word, out of their role when they went to the Taylor Swift concert. They were just kids, weren't they, when you think of it like that. But yeah, he's got a big job ahead of him, George. And it's quite interesting, Rich, because I grew up with William, but I never really followed him in the way that I'm probably going to follow George. It's going to be a very different way to royal watch, I guess, with George. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as we always say, we being British, we grew up with the royal family, but I would say, our passion has really intensified since we've become adults, and we both love history, and we're just so interested in that aspect of the royal family as well. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see in the coming years what's going to happen with the children. And we did also have the day after, and unfortunately England did lose, so I did feel a bit sorry for George, because there was photos of them really being elated that England scored, and then they lost, which was unfortunate. But the next day we had a picture of Louis and Charlotte watching the football with their football kits on, with their shirts on. And it was really funny because over on Twitter, there was a hashtag going around, and it was something along the lines of, free Louis or support for Louis. It was something along the lines that I can't remember exactly what it was, because Charlotte and George have been to all these events, and poor little Louis hasn't gone to anything yet.
He'll have his time, I'm sure. As he gets older, he'll find his thing, and we'll see him quite a lot. So yeah, he's got to bide his time. He's quite young now, though, isn't he? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long time to sit down.
Right.
And
Okay, Shell, do you want to talk about the Royal Hobnob?
let's do it. So the Royal Hobnob, the Princess Royal, she made a gradual return to royal duties, visiting the Riding for Disabled Association Championships at Harpury University in Gloucestershire. Now, the championships is the biggest equestrian event for disabled competitors, and this year marks its 55th anniversary. Now, Princess Anne she presented awards and met some of the winners, and she said that she can't remember anything from the accident. And I was actually very surprised to see her, but the fact that she said she can't remember, obviously she did have a concussion, so that does make sense. But I just thought it was brave and courageous to just get back out there so soon after being hospitalized. But also William and Catherine popped on their social media and they wrote, "Super Trooper, so great to see you back so soon." So I love there was a lot of support from the family as well for Princess Anne as she gets back into royal engagements, and we probably will see her a bit more now over the next coming weeks. Then she'll probably get back to normal if everything's okay from her doctors. So yes, it'd be nice to see her.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I think as well, the charity that she visited was close to home in Gloucester, because that's where she lives. So I thought that was nice that she didn't have to travel too far. And she's already in Paris for the Olympics. So as we always say, the Royal Hobnob, she never stops. She never stops. So when she did have this accident, I think this is what took the royal community by surprise, because she's always on the go, right? She's in her 70s, but she's just here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, hopefully she's on the mend, and it looks like it, because she's officially back with a bang, as we should say. So
woohoo! And we're going to see it, like I say, over the for the Olympics. We might see her in the background of things, and I'm all there for it. Bring it on! I love Anne. Go for it.
exactly. It's been announced that the King and Queen will visit Australia and Samoa in October. So they will attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, and to coincide with this announcement, new portraits of their Majesties wearing their Australian decorations and insignias were released to coincide with the announcement.
Amazing. It's going to be so great for the royal community in Samoa and Australia to see the King and Queen, since they've been, their monarchs. So I think they were supposed to go to New Zealand, wasn't they, Rach? But their doctor has not signed off the King to go there because it's a bit too long. So they'll be just going to those two places. But that's going to be a lovely thing to follow in October.
Yeah, definitely. Same with the King and Queen. They visited the Channel Islands last week or the week before. Sorry, because I can't remember exactly when it was, because obviously we was off last week. They visited Jersey, which they last visited in 2012 to mark the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. 2012 seems just like another lifetime ago.
I know. I was thinking this because obviously we've got the Olympics, the opening ceremony on Friday, and I was thinking the same thing. Wow, like 2012 seems so far away from like when we hosted it. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's baffling actually thinking about 2012.
Yeah. At Royal Square, they joined a special sit-in of the States Assembly, the island's parliament, which comprises of 49 elected members. And the King said, "Jersey has one of the oldest connections to the Crown, and we are delighted to be here once again to celebrate the special and close relationship which binds us together." In St Helena, Helia, sorry, they heard about how the island's agriculture and fishing industries are working towards the goal of net zero. And it is here that the king and queen witnessed some cows getting a bit frisky, Shell. This was
Um,
hilarious. And Queen Camilla's face, I could not stop laughing. She could not together. She was just, I mean, I think I would have this reaction. I mean, whenever I see animals, I get a bit embarrassed as well. I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that in front of people.
it was perfect timing. It really was. Oh, I laughed out. I think I even spilt a bit of tea when I saw the video. It was so funny.
It was so funny. On a walkabout, the king was speaking to people in the crowd, and there was one woman that he was having a conversation with, and I think she was praising him, and he said in this like really cheeky way, he was like, "A flattery will get you everywhere."
We'll have to keep that in mind for next time we visit him on a walkabout.
In the afternoon, their majesties observed a march past of the band of the island of Jersey, Jersey Field Squadron, veterans, emergency services, scouts, and guides. Oh my gosh, the weather. It was torrential downpour. It was abysmal. And I just felt so sorry for all the people that were involved, because this takes months of preparation, an event like this. And especially the kids that were involved, you could see them marching past, and they didn't have, you know, coats on or hoods on or anything. They were in their like little scout uniforms, and
Yeah.
I just felt so sorry for them. But they all were troopers, and they just carried on. Shell, the king got a bit annoyed because Camilla was getting a bit wet because of all the rain,
Mhm.
and he kind of like had a little bit of a go at one of his staff, right?
Yeah, he was like, I think I couldn't lip read what he was saying, but you could tell he was like, "Hurry up" or something, because the queen was trying to put her coat on plus hold an umbrella, but it was literally 2 more seconds and she would have been done. But he was like, "Nope, get it sorted." We've always seen these little moments with the king, don't we? He has these little tiny moments, especially proclamation with the pen, the fountain pen situation.
Pengate, as it's now known.
Hashtag Pengate. There you go.
On day 2, the king and queen visited Guernsey, where they attended the States of Deliberation. Now, records suggest that the States of Deliberation has existed in some form since the 15th century, royal community. 15th century. Nowadays, it comprises of 40 members and has a tradition that has a special sit-in which takes place when the monarch visits Guernsey for the first time. So this was the king's first visit to Guernsey as the monarch, hence why they had the States of Liberation.
I love a tradition, especially like I say, that far it like in history. You know, they must have kept records. Like then pick up the pen, then speak to the. Do you know what I mean? For it to be so succinct every single time he comes to visit.
Yeah, and if you ever want to hear, we did an episode on like when the king actually became king, and we were talking about the proclamation because we had never really heard of that before. We'd never seen it before. Go and listen to our previous podcast episode because that was so interesting to see, and we were watching history right there, and we just loved watching that, didn't we?
We did. And also, what was the most amazing thing is only the people in that room would have ever seen that throughout the whole of the history of the royal, the monarchy, right? So this was the first time that we commoners, we were able to see it in its entirety, and it was absolutely fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So, have we got anything more from the Channel Islands, Rach?
One more bit, which is probably my favourite thing. The king granted royal status to the Golden Guernsey goats, which is a breed. Somerville Tamsin, also Tam Tam, was washed with Head and Shoulders the day before, so her coat was especially silky for her royal meeting.
Oh, there is nothing better than a washed goat. I love it. Tam Tam, yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Oh,
give me your hair tips, Tam Tam. That's all,
yeah.
shoulders that you use. Is there anything else?
And side note for all of our Australian royal community out there, I'm sure Tim Tams are at other places around the world, but it does remind me of a Tim Tam. Tam Tam just reminds me of Tim Tams, and now I want a Tim Tam slam. So if you don't know what that is, Google it. It's the best thing ever.
So that was our roundup of Their Majesty's trip to the Channel Islands. So, Shell, do you want to talk about the state opening of Parliament?
Yeah, let's do it. So, on the 17th of July, we had the state opening of Parliament, and we saw the King and Queen head into the Palace of Westminster. And the King wore the parliamentary robe, worn by King George V. This robe was, and he also wore the imperial state crown. Queen Camilla wore the George IV diadem, which is one of my favorites. It's so spectacular. I think the whole of her jewelry was literally chef's kiss. She was dripping in diamonds. This is what we love. The King's speech is read out by the king, but it's actually written by Parliament. And as we have a newly elected government, it's Labour that's holding the majority of seats in the Houses of Commons. So there's lots of changes to the law, and the speech itself was said to be the longest King's speech. Used to be Queen's speech, King's speech in 20 years. And we have done, I want to say, 2, possibly 3 podcast episodes on the state opening of Parliament. We go into the details of the imperial state crown, the black ruby that's on there. We go into all the how many jewels is in the, how many diamonds are in the crown. You name it. We talk about the cap of maintenance. Is it? I'm sure. We've got
Black Rod.
Black Rod knocking the door, you name it. And I'll pop some of the links in the description after this goes live. After it gets published on our YouTube channel. It's an absolute event. It's one of those moments where we see the monarch in his constitutional role, and it's a spectacle. I mean, each one of the items gets its own carriage, right? The crown had its own carriage. I love it. Pomp and pageantry.
And the king again had a little bit of a a kerfuffle with one of the robes, and he kind of snapped a bit at one of the page boys, didn't he?
Yeah. Can we call them kerfuffles from now on? Like every time he has a little, it's a kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
We love a kerfuffle.
Also, this was on Camilla's 77th birthday. So, I mean, what better way to celebrate your birthday than to wear a tiara, right?
And looking amazing, right? Looking amazing.
Exactly. She looks spectacular. And as we said earlier, we also had another royal birthday this week. Prince George turned 11.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a photo, wasn't there, taken by Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and that was all up on the socials. What did you think, Rach?
Yeah, I think it was quite different to Charlotte and Louis's birthday pictures that were released this year, in the sense that 1, it was black and white, and 2, it looked more formal. But I think this was to depict him in his future role, to differentiate between him and his siblings, because he will one day be king, he will one day be head of state. Again, a mini William. He just looks so much like William. He looks older than 11 as well, I must say. I think in this photo, he looked to me about 13, and I kind of had to look, and I was like, is he really 11? Like, is that only how old he is? So I liked the fact that you could see he was wearing like a little bracelet. You couldn't see that on the Instagram picture. You could see it on the Twitter picture that they posted, which I thought was a nice touch to bring in that, youthfulness, because obviously in the photo he's wearing a suit. So not that many 11-year-olds for their birthdays wear a suit. So yeah, I liked the picture, but I think you had other opinions, didn't you, Shell?
I did, and don't get me wrong, this isn't me having a negative opinion about Prince George. I just didn't like possibly his expression on his face. It looked like he was about to say something. So when I looked at it, I was like, oh, I wondered what he was about to say, rather than, oh, look at that cute, do you know what I mean? So I think it got me questioning rather than just looking and, oh, that was such a lovely, which it is, don't get me wrong. It's a lovely picture. And I really do agree with everything you're saying. The suit, it does really elevate his status and his future role within the monarchy. So yeah, I mean he's getting older now, Rachel. He's making me feel old. It's like 11 years ago. I think you were saying, Rachel, you were like on Lindo Wing watch, right? You were like, what's going on?
I was waiting for that first shot. I remember, like, yeah, it was yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, when are they gonna come out? And when they did come out, and it was just, you look back now, you see the pictures, and you think, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine as new first-time parents walking out to the world's press. Like, if you look at how many cameras were on them, I just couldn't imagine it. So, bravo to William and Catherine on that day. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Oh, and I actually found a video of or saw a video on the socials of Catherine's mother talking to the press when George was born, and I just love that, because we hardly ever hear from the Middletons. They're such a private family, and for them to be in that joyous moment chatting about their newly born grandson, I just thought it was brilliant. I loved it. So yeah, we've also, Rach, had some new patronages for Prince William. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, it's been announced that William has become patron of the Welsh Guards charity, the Royal Cornwall Agricultural Association, and president of the Victoria Cross and George Cross Association. He is also moving from president to patron of the FA, which is the Football Association, and Fielding Trust. So
Hmm.
it's been announced today. And I think it was also said that the Prince and Princess of Wales will be taking on fewer patronages. And I think this is so that they can focus more on the ones that they already have and give their time more effectively to the, really try to help those that they already have. And, becoming Prince of Wales is a totally different role to when he was Duke of Cambridge. So he's had so many more responsibilities. The Duchy of Cornwall has, he's responsible for a lot of people's livelihoods now. So it makes sense that other things have to be stripped back. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. And we also had news today that the Sovereign Grant report has been revealed for this year, but we haven't had time to look at that. We haven't had time to research it. So we will be talking about that in next week's episode.
Yeah, and the sovereign grant is always a contentious issue with people who either love the royals, don't love the royals. There's always an opinion, isn't there? Which is understandable, because taxpayer money goes into that. So, it's going to cause some friction or whatever, depending on what's in there. So we will talk about that next week. How are we doing? Have we covered most of the things we were going to chat about, Rach?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Hey, I've got a little roundup that I put together, which was I didn't put loads of notes together, but thought it would be worth a mention. So last week we had the first ever post box with the King's cipher, and that was unveiled. I love a monarch's post box. I know that sounds very strange, but they have the cipher on them. So it feels like a bit of a game when I go out, or especially if I go to a new place, to see if I can see like Queen Victoria's or King George V. So it's so interesting. I always have to take a picture. I was in St Albans in Hertfordshire, and I saw, I can't remember, it was either Queen Victoria's or King George V's, actually thinking about it. And I took a picture and I was just so excited. Yeah, it's so historical.
Do you want to carry on, Shell?
No, you carry on, Rach.
We also had the King and Queen opened the Welsh Senate for the 25th anniversary, and the King packed the 30,000 Sony HD camera at the Sony Technology Centre in Pencoed. You're better off.
Pencoed. You nearly got that right. Well done, Rach. You got there.
Shell's the Welsh one, so maybe she should have read that. whilst marking the 50th anniversary of the Sony in Wales.
I love this. Did you see the king's face when he put the 30th thousand? What is it? 30,000? What is it? Yeah, 30th thousand. That's hard to say. The camera in the box. He was like, "Look at me." Just loved it. But Sony is such a big, like, it employs quite a lot of people in Wales. So there's lots of people I know or have worked at Sony. So it's quite interesting that 50 years is just remarkable.
William raised £1 million at the outsourcing NC Royal Charity Polo Cup in Windsor. And this has been going on for 13 years. Shell, Williams, you know, he's in his 40s, but come on, him on that horse, that was quite hot.
Oh, we always love some polo jumpers, don't we? Jumpers. They call them jumpers, don't they, when they're playing polo? Yeah.
For Peter Phillips, William's cousin, there with his girlfriend. We've seen him and his girlfriend out on a few occasions this summer already. There was that Royal Ascot together. I think they went to Wimbledon game as well. So it looks like that relationship is moving along nicely. And we also had the King and Idris Elba meeting young people at Clarence House to discuss youth violence and the Elba Hope Foundation's Knife Crime campaign.
Yeah, I was looking into this. I was doing a bit more research into it. It's just it's I didn't realize that Idris Elba had this foundation, and looking into it more, he's really helping, and I really enjoyed reading about a bit more about this engagement. And it's so nice to see Clarence House, like a bit more of the pictures inside Clarence House. So yeah.
Yeah, and we also had the opening of Buckingham Palace. So if you're in London, you can go and visit the staterooms. Maybe you're one of the lucky people that was able to get tickets to the opening of the East Wing. We unfortunately did not manage to get tickets. So if they extend the time period, then we'd love to go and see those wings, because from the footage that we've seen, they look spectacular, don't they?
Oh, just mwah. So good. But we didn't know whether it was gonna be worth it. So we were just like, and then we couldn't get tickets anyway. So maybe next year. Maybe next year. But the wallpaper in the East Wing is incredible. And apparently they took all of the wallpaper down, restored it, and painted the bits that needed painted, and then actually hung it back up. That is really intensive work, and they did an excellent job. It looks magnificent. It really does. So anyone that's got tickets, we're now really jealous of you. We hope you have a lovely time.
Yeah, so that's all we've got for this week.
Yeah. Well, we have a few little comments. I'll just mention them. Oh, thank you so much. NAA said it's jumpers. I kind of said it in my head, but I couldn't say it out loud. Does that make sense? When you ever do that, you're like, jumpers, and you're like, yeah, that's what I mean. Jumpers for the trousers you wear when you're horse riding. And also NAA said, the King of Spain brought his younger daughter. So she'll not be Queen of Spain. That's the eldest daughter's destiny. So thank you, because we're not we know of them, we don't really follow them very much. So thank you for letting us know about that. And I also wanted to say Carrie said hi. Hello. We are absolutely loving doing the live shows. Thank you so much for being part of Keeping Up with the Windsors, being part of the royal community here. If you want to know more about me and Rachel, you can over on Instagram, Keeping Up with the Windsors pod, and also on YouTube as well. We have other videos that you can watch about our vlogs in London, in royal palaces, being at royal events like the coronation. We even queued for 13 hours to see Queen Elizabeth II's coffin lying in state. And that was an adventure, wasn't it, Rach?
I'm still not recovered.
Oh my god. Honestly, that vlog, even when I've watched it back once or twice just to remind me of how painful it was. It was like, But again, it was something that we wanted to pay our respects to the Queen. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll see you next week, 6:30 on a Wednesday. We're looking forward to it. We'll be talking about the sovereign grant and anything else that comes up. And if you would like us to chat about anything, pop in the comments, and we'll if you have a question for us, pop it in the comments. We'll answer it next week. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week on Keeping Up with the Windsors.
Bye.